Uh, well, well, there goes the idea of it being a first-person shooter, but I think I might be able to have an idea to make it as a platformer shooter or a run and gun. But the problem is, what would be the best game engine that will be best suited for this game? Well, I don't know. Well, I know I don't have the knowledge of actually using Godot, and even though I did try to learn how to use it several times by myself, but I don't think it's time for me to actually learn a different language just yet. Well, I guess it's time for me to go back to my roots and actually learn how to use GameMaker Studio and actually start from the ground up again. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, or should I say my fellow time travelers. My name is Mitch, also known as Planetary from the Planetary Ashes. If you guys are a new viewer, then welcome aboard. If you guys have came back for another devlog, then welcome back. In this particular episode, the title isn't outlying, and same with the intro. Going back to square one is sometimes the best thing for some game developers to actually go back and learn from the ground up to retain information that they have once forgotten. For me, for example, or for you guys who are questioning yourself, what do you mean by going back to square one? Now, going back to square one is like this. For myself, a very good example. I have actually learned how to use so many engines with Unity, Unreal, and also yet Godot, but this is not a particular engine that I have actually started to actually learn how to become a game developer. No. The particular game engine that I've actually learned to become a game developer back in 2017, yes, that far back, about a good 6 years, was none other than GameMaker Studio, also now known as GameMaker Engine. GameMaker Engine or GameMaker Studio is the particular engine that I started off to actually learn how to use coding with GML coding, either GML language or GML or GML visual, with the drag and drop or hard coding. That's where I have actually started my journey first, is actually using GameMaker Studio or GameMaker language to actually become a little bit more better and a little bit more understanding of how to use the game engine at its fullest. Now, throughout my years after using GameMaker Studio, I've actually decided to learn how to use Unity, I've decided to learn how to use Unreal Engine, and I've decided to use Godot. But it didn't feel like I was actually ready to use any of those engines, which, to be honest, that's my fault entirely, to actually go out my way and experiment 3 different engines throughout the span of 6 years, with me learning how to use Unity from university, from a different kind of university, and learning how to use Unreal Engine on my own time, and same with Godot as well on my own expanse of time, where I decided to say, alright, well, Godot might be a good engine to do and to learn, but I didn't know anything about Godot. I didn't know its language, which I know is Python, but I didn't know it entirely to actually carry it over to using it in Godot, which that is my fault entirely. Now, after when I've actually gone through several game jams with using Godot, I came to realize that my knowledge is not really well met just yet. Even though I've actually tried to use Godot throughout 2 years from 2021 to 2022, I thought it might be a good idea to actually take a step back from Godot and from other engines and actually go back to square one, where I've actually have learned how to be the game developer, which is GameMaker Studio. Now, coming back to GameMaker Studio and learning how to use GameMaker Studio or GameMaker Engine, it felt like a sudden revive, a refresh, a revisor of the course of myself to actually learn how to become a little bit more better and learning how to code more efficiently. Now, well, not entirely just yet, but to help me retain information that I have actually once forgotten by using GameMaker Studio. But once I've actually decided to jump back in to GameMaker Studio, every single little bit of knowledge that I've actually learned beforehand decided to rush back into me and decided to say, okay, we have actually done this before. Trying to do this, trying to make the character move left and right and up and down. Not up and down by jumping, but up, down, left, right. Your standard 4-way or 8-way movement to help the character get from point A to point B with ease. Which I haven't actually, which does help me out a little bit. But then I decided to actually expand my knowledge a little bit more by learning how to make the player shoot, which I'll happily show you on the screen right now, which I decided to do it for my particular top-down shooter, a kind of a 1945 idea or inspiration to make a plane shoot the bullets up or at some occasion shoot to the right, which that was a very, very silly idea. But it helped me relearn it helped me retain information. And also it helped me look out for communities as well with Game Maker Studio, both on the internet and also yet on Discord. I have actually asked questions, but also yet showing my work to better myself, to retain information, to become a little bit more better. And which it did. I decided to say, you know what? All right. There is some tutorials out there that can actually be beneficial for me, and there is some information that can actually help me out a little bit more better. Now, I know my friend Druid is going to be watching this, and no, I'm not going to get tutorial trap, my good friend. Not just yet. No. I am going to be watching those tutorials and actually go verbatim, but what I will be doing after that particular segment is also relearning myself to do it again 3 times. That means doing it 3 other times with the same genre, but with 3 different themes to it, to make it a little bit better, but also yet to help me come up with some mechanics that could actually be beneficial for me to learn a little bit more better and become more sufficient and suffice of retaining information to help me better myself, to learn more better and expand my my brain outside the box. But yes, so that's what I am at the moment, because I actually would like to make my game project BC, but I decided to make it for Game Maker Studio. But not only that, but I do have a design document, but that will be saved for another video to help you guys out a little bit more better when it comes to pen and paper, which I will save that for another time. But for now, this particular devlog is about going back to square one and relearning the coding and relearning yourself a little bit more better, whether it be using Unity, using Unreal Engine, using Godot, or using Game Maker Studio, or any other engines that is out there that could actually be beneficial for you and suffice for you. Like, sometimes it's best to start from ground one, start from square one, work your way back up to where you were before, but also yet asking people from the community to help you out to actually understand how to make things work a little bit more better and how to make things go from point A to point B, but also yet help yourself to expand that knowledge to figure out how does this work, how does that work, and trying to make this go that way. Because that is a great way to actually help you learn. A great way to retain information, and if somewhere along the line you decide to switch from a different engine, you got that information in your mind, but it has to be worked a little bit more differently. Same process, but have to be done a little bit more differently. Which that is what's happening with me. But yes, so to end this devlog on a high note, if you have any trouble and you tend to forget your information that you need to help yourself out to some particular engines, it's alright to go back to square one. Or if you don't feel like the engine is or whatever engines you have actually are up to now, but you can't remember how it's done and you want to go back to the engines that you have actually started before, that's fine. Go back to where you started and actually work your way back up again to become more better and also help yourself improve yourself from using the engine that you started, but also yet improving yourself by going to a different engine after you mastered one of the engines. But yeah, I think that would be the best idea. But also, if you decide to learn from tutorials as well, go for just after you do one tutorial, do it again by yourself. Become more better, become more efficient, learning the information that you have actually gained from your tutorials, but become more better and actually expand the mechanics and also get your knowledge by yourself, which that's what I'll be doing after one of my tutorial segments. But that will do, ladies and gentlemen. That is where I'm up to at the moment, is going back to square one and working my way back up. If you actually enjoyed this particular devlog, thank you for watching and thank you for sticking around. Feel free to subscribe and actually feel free to subscribe to actually see the process and also yet seeing the devlogs and my journey that I have to actually go through to make Project Borrow Creek. With the next devlog coming around shortly will be based on pen and paper, one of the most key features that most game developers tend to miss. Or well, most. Not all of them, but most of the time. To give you information that you want to make for yourself and to make the game. But that will wait another time. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the devlog video. Hopefully you have enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next devlog video. Until then, this is Planetary signing off, and I'll see you guys next time. Ta-ra!